The building. Got to say good morning to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Miss Marinka Gumbs, here with us this morning. Good morning, Minister. How you doing?
Good morning, Super. I am ecstatic, happy to be here this Monday morning. Blessed week to you and your listeners.
Same to you. Which you said Monday is actually one of your favorite days of the week.
It is.
I was like, I've never heard anybody say that. But you have your reasons.
Yes, I do. I'm most productive on a Monday.
On a Monday?
I get things done, and by Wednesday I crash.
Okay, so if anybody needs anything done, contact you on a Monday.
Yes, Monday's the day.
Alrighty then. But you're always willing, regardless of the day of the week, you're always willing to help out. There's sometimes I text you on a weekend.
Yes, that's true.
And you always assist. I'm like, I don't know how she does it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't see your cape, but you definitely wear one. There's a couple of things that we need to talk about this morning. I know the last time, I think it was a few weeks ago, you mentioned about the 24 months extension when it comes to the taxes receiver's office, something that you promised the people of St.Maarten that you were working on, and you kept that promise. So explain to us a little bit, what does this mean for the citizens of St.Maarten?
So indeed, a couple months ago, I restarted the discussions with the receiver's office. It is now one that was just, we're going to implement, go from 9 to 24. We really had to have discussions about it and see legally how we would have gone about that process. So what it is, for example, by law, it states that if you get an assessment, you have 2 months by law to pay back. The receivers had at one point 18 months. They went down to 12, and then they went down to 9. I started something called Finance Fridays, where the public have the opportunity every last Friday of the month to come in and see me and discuss, you name it. Even if it's not financial, if they feel that I can assist them in any way, they can come in and they can explain their situation. And what I saw from those individuals was, Minister, do something about the 9 months. We cannot. And trust you me, there are people who can, but still try. And then there are others who really can't. And for those, I said, you know what, we really have to do something. So legally, we went through the trajectory, seeing how I would have been able to go from 9 to 24 months. And indeed, right now, if you get an assessment, you have to go into the receiver's office, speak to your case manager, and it goes to 24 months, no questions asked. However, if you feel even that the 24 months is not enough, then you go through the process of filling out a specific DB35 form. You may have to provide additional information, and then they would decide or assess whether, based on your expenses, whether you can indeed qualify for additional. But right now, it's no questions asked, 24 months.
24 months. Now, is this only for new assessments? What about existing assessments as well?
Well, according to my understanding, it was about new. But I've had some discussions last week or even the week before, and it was a matter of, Minister, I had this assessment, and I went in, and apparently they're extending that to the 24 months
as well. Okay.
Right. Which is a good thing. I'm happy, and I'm encouraging people to utilize it. Why? Because there is a deadline. December 31st, 2026, there is a deadline for this. Super, we have a tendency on waiting last minute, to, apply and go for things. But because I've heard the cries, and because I promised and I wanted to deliver on that, I said, guys, please utilize your 24 months.
Now, after this deadline, is this something that's going to be reviewed to see if it could be something that could be?
We would have to review it and determine whether or not this can maintain, if we need to extend, another deadline. I don't know yet, but we really have to, once we get the data, we'll be able to assess.
Yeah, because what would you say would be considered for it to be something that could be permanent? Would it have to be, we're seeing people now actually making the efforts to come in and make the payments?
Correct. Yeah, because the truth of the matter is,
because you did your work, now it's time for us.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to implore to people. Listen, I heard you. I see the tears. I understand. Don't forget, we are still having people experience the shocks of Irma. We're having people people experience the shocks of GEBE still today, to be honest.
COVID, everything,
So with those things in mind, I said, you know what? When you hear someone say, Minister, I don't know whether or not I should pay this tax or send money to my child abroad. When you hear those things, you say, well, something have to give.
Right.
And for me, I decided, let's do this. We did it legally, very by the book. And with that now, I'm imploring, I can't stress enough, go in. And I know there's a thing of, I don't want to go to the receivers. I don't want to see, I don't even want to open the mail.
Man.
But you have to.
When you see that letter with that logo,
yeah, I know.
The blue red,
yes, exactly.
Man, you hold your hat sometimes.
No, but open it because it could be a reward for you too.
True.
And when I say that, you could be getting back.
Yeah.
So let's not be afraid. And at the end of the day, I had a boss that once told me there are two things that are facts of life: paying taxes
and death. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, somebody is going to have to do it regardless. And I'm just saying, let's utilize the tools that we have, and this is one of them now, going from the 9 to the 24.
And like you said, it starts with a conversation, a discussion.
Exactly.
And there's many persons over at the receivers. Once you go in and you have that discussion with them, they're always willing to at least.
Yes, exactly. And they are, it's not about not wanting to help. They are very helpful, and very understanding. So for me, I would encourage you to just have the conversation, communicate. That's something we lack in this place, to be honest. And it's a matter of simply communicating with the staff, and hopefully you can get not only a 24, but just continue with your payments. You have a longer time to pay it off now. Happy for you that you were able to get that, but be consistent with your payment. And if something unfortunate comes up, communicate it as well to them.
Okay, so that's the latest there. So the 24 months extension together with the Ministry of Finance and the Receiver's Office.
Correct.
So this comes for what type of taxes? Does it come for?
It's only towards income tax. And so I know a lot of people is like, yeah, but what are you doing for the businesses? That coming next.
Okay.
Everything in stages.
Working on that as well.
Exactly. So business will be
the deadline.
Surprised.
So the deadline for this is December 31st.
Correct.
This is applicable for any new assessments that you receive within this year time frame, but like you mentioned, you've heard stories where previous assessments have also been granted this extension.
Exactly.
Okay, so like you said, all you have to do is just have a discussion. If you have contact with your loan collections officer, or you just go into the receiver's office.
And you could just go in and ask, simply ask, and they'll be able to assist you.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the central bank. I know you're supposed to head into Parliament soon to talk about that.
Yes.
But before we get into the nitty gritty, I know congratulations going out to Miss Nicole.
Yes.
Nicole Marlin.
Yes.
I know she was a very, very integral part of the ministry. Not
only the ministry, my cabinet, but the entire administration.
Yeah.
And so for that, I am very happy for her. People will say, yeah, but this is a loss. No, I don't think it's a loss. I actually think it's a gain.
Okay.
We definitely need key people at the central bank at this particular time, and who best. Right. So, I'm gonna find my way through the cabinet. Don't worry. Where there's a will, there's a way. We're going to make it happen. But at the end of the day, I am extremely happy and proud of Nicole.
All right. And recently you just came back from Curacao about a meeting when it comes to the central bank and the appointment of a new director, I believe?
No, it was a new chair.
New chair, yes. A new chair.
Yes.
And I know it was a little tense moment there. And like I said, this is something that you've been called to Parliament to discuss. So I know there's not much you really want to see. You want to save those answers for when you're in Parliament.
I would rather at this time just save the responses or the questions that they would probably have for me when I go to Parliament. But I want to basically say, at the end of the day, I have one concern, and that's St.Maarten.
Yeah.
And at this point, I have discussions, and I can go and I can have a discussion with you, as I did when I went to Curacao. But just how you want the best for your country, so do I. I want the best for mine. And I am of the opinion that it is St. Maarten's turn to have chair. And and I was not walking away with them.
I saw that. I saw that. But I've seen other articles as well, and this is something also former MP Christopher Emmanuel has been talking about quite some time when it comes to the central bank, that St.Maarten should have its own. Leave Curacao stay with theirs, and St.Maarten we have our own. I'm sure this is a question that's going to come up in Parliament, but what are your thoughts on that? Is that a discussion that has been ongoing as well within the ministry?
It is a discussion, but there are some facts that we have to consider. We definitely need to get, and that's why I mentioned just now, Nicole being in that position is a plus, okay? I feel, honestly, that while we may want to embark on going separate, I'm not saying that that's a conversation that I'm not willing to have. I am going to say this: we have to definitely get our part of the central bank up to par.
Yes.
There have been discussions in the past by previous ministers of finance where there's supposed to be in Dutch is a samenwerking contract, so to speak, between the two countries. And from then to now, nothing has taken place, meaning what's happening in Curacao should be happening in St.Maarten.
Correct.
You have your HR, we should have our HR. We need to have not only 10 people within our portion of the central bank, while you have 200, for example. It needs to be even. And I have seen where the Prime Minister of Curacao made a comment about 80-20. No, 80-20 don't mean the governance. In my opinion, it doesn't mean the governance structure of the central bank. 80-20 is talking about dividends. So, but we'll get into that conversation when I get over to Parliament.
When was that meeting scheduled? There's no date as yet?
No date as yet.
All right. Let's talk a little bit more about the budget for 2026 and beyond, because you've been working on you're trying to get everything
at the same time. So budget 2026, I'm slated to go to Parliament in May, and we are still on that path to getting it done in May. In the meantime, you have to also look at so 2027 is there. What were the bottlenecks that we faced with 2026 or even 2025? How could we not have this situation for 2027? And so for the first time ever, the Ministry of Finance decided to organize a meeting with all ministers, all SGs, all chiefs of staff, all controllers, and we also decided to include the CFT. Now, when people hear a CFT, it was like, but why are you involving the CFT? Even some persons within the ministry was a bit skeptical about it. But for me, I believe, and both the Prime Minister and I had that conversation, it was about everyone taking responsibility and taking ownership of having a budget passed for the first time for the country come September 8th. So for me, having CFT be there was a matter of, guys, I know you have your comments, I know you write your reports, and they're taken to the fullest extent, and I understand it. But come into the meeting and see what we face, see what the bottlenecks are. Guide us, even if you're there as an observer, just still give your comments in letter form as to what you experienced in this meeting and what we could possibly look at future tense as to these are the changes. The good news is, in my opinion, that meeting was successful. All ministries had to adhere to specific deadlines in giving me data. They did give the data. There were some who really stuck to the deadline. There were others who was a little late, but even in their lateness, we were able to still gather all the information in a proper timing. The outcome of that, 3 ministries, I won't call their names, 3 ministries had some issues with their budget. However, 2 of the 3 were really assisted. So those 2 are no longer an issue, and there's one that we are really working on to see how we're gonna get them to understand the closing of the gaps between what they really want versus what can be given to them. And the good news on the budget 2027 is that no budget was cut. No ministry's budget was cut. Everyone actually got an increase. Now, truth of the matter is that there are those three that still wanted more than. Yeah. But we all want more, to be honest. I can't give you if it's not coming in. Yeah. So we have to also do our part as ministries to see where we can bring in additional funds.
I remember you did mention that. I can't remember if it was in Parliament or another interview where you said, yes, everybody looks to the Ministry of Finance when it comes to the funds, but some of these other ministries have to find money generating.
Exactly.
Ways to generate money. Yeah.
And that's necessary because, just look within your ministry. You have different things, whether it's a fee, you name it. But we really need to assess within our individual ministries because, believe it or not, while I'm the Minister of Finance, truth of the matter is every minister is responsible for their individual budgets. So one of the things, and I know you didn't ask it yet, but one of the things that is a focus is the tourist levy.
Yes.
Very important. I need to state that this is something that was not a brainchild of mine. When I came into the administration, I met this there. So kudos to those who thought of this.
Right. And I have to give kudos to you as well because you are one of the few, I'm not going to say no one else has ever done it, but you're one of the few that says, hey, listen, it's not thought of by me, we worked on it, but I give congratulations to the predecessor or whoever it is. And I really, really got to give you kudos for that as well. Yeah.
Not my idea. However, it's something that I see in the best interest of the country, and that goes for anything. It may not be something that I thought of, but once I see it's going to be in the best interest of the country, I am going to run with it, even if it means putting Marinka's spin to it. So when I came in, we had the tourist levy, and unfortunately, it did not yet go to the SER because the SER was not functioning at that time. At that time,
okay.
So we made sure that the SER got functioning, and after that we make sure that that piece of legislation went to them so that they can assess. They assessed, they called us in for a meeting, we went over different questions that they had, and they gave their report. Upon receiving their report, it started to go through the trajectory now. So now, next up, legal affairs. When I went to legal affairs says, thank you, but truthfully, we cannot advise on this because it's not written in legal jargon. Oh. Okay. So
go back again.
We got to go back again.
Yeah.
And that's why something that started in, I believe, don't quote me on it, but 2023, 3 years later, we're still working. There, yeah. So, thankfully, within my cabinet, I have some great legal minds. Okay. And they started to put it together with some assistance from some advisors. And when they put it together, it's now back at the Yezetten way so that they can review one last time. And then it will continue going. But the intention is that this be something that can be passed and goes in the budget of 2027. We are really hopeful for that.
Okay, and that could help with the coffers and whatnot.
Correct. It will help. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Every one of us who are working have been carrying this country. Okay, when we pay wage tax, it's carrying it. Okay, wage tax and TRT are the highest revenue generating right now within the country. So that means thank you to everyone who gets up in the morning on a Monday, even if you don't like it, and you're coming into work. I really do appreciate it because of you working, it's why we now have money to do certain things within the country.
Right.
Okay. But we have tourists, and they come and they enjoy, sometimes even more than we get to enjoy the sea, sun, and sand.
Right.
And granted, a lot of people would argue and say, yeah, but Minister, the place, how we looking, would you invite someone here? And I mentioned it the other day on another interview that I had. When you're inviting someone to your home, you want to make sure that your home is up to par.
Right.
And in order to get it there, we really have to now kind of give the people of this country a little leniency and now put put that, and I'm not saying that they got to pay for everything.
Right.
I'm not saying that the tourists have to pay for everything, but
they have
you're
to
using our roads.
Carry the load.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, this could be a win for everybody, and I'm not saying that it's the all win. It's not the savior for every issue that we have, but it's definitely going to assist greatly.
Quickly, so how is a budget put together? If you could just break it down in layman's term, because it's something that takes a very long time to put together. Then it's discussed in Parliament. We see how that can also sometimes drag on and then come back or whatever. How is it actually put together? So all the ministry come together. I want this. This is what I want, from the pens to the paper to whatever. Yeah.
So in actuality, step one, the Ministry of Finance determines the several ministries' budget. So this is where they're saying to you, this is where you can budget from. Okay, so you get those figures. Once you get those figures, it is up to us as the Council of Ministers to go through that document and say to ourselves, yeah, but do you really need this? Because if you don't, then maybe this could go here.
Right.
It's in that discussion where the shift can happen. We can't have a Council of Ministers meeting, approve what the finance department indicated to us, and after we approve that, then come and say, no, but we need it's too late because we already approved. They already started the process in getting the budget documentation, you name it, to not only CFT, to the same Yezatin Way, to Council of Advice. I mean, it goes through so many different avenues before it actually reaches the Parliament. And I'm talking, that's just regular budget. When we talk about budget amendment now, that's a whole different story. And I am really trying to see with government and Parliament if we can assess how we really deal with budget amendments. Because it's as if you're coming in for a whole new budget. Let's just deal with the budget amendments that are on the table, and and that's what the meeting of 2027 was about. Let's really sit down, trash it out, who really needs what. And when we did that, again, I think it was a successful meeting, and I'm really, really praying September 8th can be realized.
Okay, we'll see. That's my birthday, so maybe that may be a good gift.
Yes, very.
Let's talk quickly about external shocks. Of course, we're seeing, and it's bound to happen.
Yes.
Hopefully it's not going to be too long term, but we will feel some type of shock, with the recent war in Iran and other factors as well. We just saw in the papers today one of the shipping companies might be raising their fees up to 250%. They still said there's still time to review based on what happens next, but for now, if they want to stay in business, they would have to do this.
Correct.
And I've seen some of the prices. Something that was $300 is now up to $1,500. So that cost will, of course, trickle down to the people of St.Maarten who are already going through a difficult time.
Exactly.
Yeah, So what's something that the ministry is doing? So
in actuality, last week, Tuesday, that was one of the decisions that the council made, that every ministry is going to have to appoint someone from the ministry to be a part of, I don't want to call it, let me call it a think tank, to see what would be best suited not only for the ministries, but what we're going to do in terms of knowing that these shocks are bound to happen, how we're going to try to alleviate certain things for the people of this country. And I know that tomorrow we would have to advise within the COM who those individuals are and have the discussions. I know TIAT for sure has a lot, a lot to do with this, and as well as finance. But at the same time, we're all working together. All ministries are working together to see what would be done in the best interest of this country. Because we know this was bound to happen, and it's a matter of trying to stay ahead of the game instead of behind.
I've seen some people, make some suggestions like let's do maybe some type of tax relief. But I know when you do a tax relief, that means you're withholding money, but then that money has to come from somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the thing, very easy to say tax relief. Don't forget, the minute a relief is given, I have to supplement it somehow with something,
because it has to balance.
It has to balance.
Right.
And the question is with what? So again, allow us the opportunity with the whole think tank group to see what would be the best in the best interest of not only the businesses, especially those bringing in, we're talking supermarkets here, guys. We're talking food.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that this is a situation that people are not too strained by. We're already very much a little stressed.
Yeah.
We don't want to further burden, So it's a matter of seeing how we can, and I'm sure everyone putting their heads together will come up with something great for this
And most
country.
likely the burden when it comes to fuel and also utilities,
Yes.
that's most likely going to go up as well. So
I have my thoughts on fuel, but
yeah, I'm sure you guys are going to discuss that within the
Yes.
All right. Minister, anything else you want to add before you leave?
No, I just really want to thank you once again for this opportunity. There are things that I am still working on. For example, dear to my heart are the seniors, very dear. And so for me, I know that they too have complained when they come in to see me about the fact that, the tax that they incur once with their pension, and they have additional income, then it's bulked together and then they end up in a higher tax bracket. So right now I am working on having that separated. So that could be a relief. But again, there's a next thing that I want to focus on where businesses are concerned. 34.5% profit tax. We're the highest within the region.
Say,
and that's an intention for me to go back to Parliament and to see, for example, and to explain the intention of bringing it down in phases. Of course, I can't go straight from the 34 to 15. I would have to do it in phases, but that is something that I am also working on. So, there's a lot coming out from the ministry and my cabinet specifically, and I am just grateful for the opportunity to sit and make a difference in the lives of not only the people, but the businesses and country as a whole.
There you go. Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Marinka Gumbs, trying to put the power and the money back in the hands of the people. So she's working. She's trying her best. Shout outs to her ministry as well. So big ups to them because you're the face of the ministry, but they behind the scenes, they do a lot.
Thank God for them.
Yeah, they do a lot. So thank you again, Minister. But before you leave, I have one more question for you, which is our question of the day. How many pairs of slippers or slides do you own?
You don't,
including Crocs. You could put your Crocs in there as well if you have.
If I could be honest, I literally cleaned up my closet yesterday. Over 50.
Over 50.
Yeah.
Did you get rid of
shoes.
any of them, Minister?
No shoes. I have a bag full of clothing that I do have to give away.
Okay.
So that is something that I am.
But the shoes for now?
Shoes, no.
Thank you, Minister, for joining us. And keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
All right. Ladies, I want to say you with the attitude. Oh, before you leave, if anyone wants to, do you still do the Finance Fridays? Yes. So if anyone wants to, come in for that,
Yes. So it's every last Friday of the month between 9 to 12. Just come in, let the security downstairs know that you're here to see the minister, and it's on a case by case, one first come first serve basis.
All right, there you go. And also, quickly, I don't know if I think it falls within your ministry, road tax. Because it's been very, very low, 37%.
So yes, so. The highest we saw was back in 2023 at 11 million.
Yeah.
And then 2025 was 9 million, okay? And I said something got to give, guys. So unfortunately, I know that there was a campaign around the number plate being the last number plate. We had to revisit that. So 2027, I'm hoping that we can come with a new number plate that's already in the planning, in the making. But I also want to do a next thing. I also want to wait.
Yes.
The fee be based on the weight of
your vehicle. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are concerned about that because they're like, oh my God, I have a big vehicle. What is that going to be? And I said, you know what? I trust the minister. I don't think it's going to be an exorbitant amount.
No.
You know?
As a matter of fact, to be quite honest, every other letter besides the M and the P already are in different categories based on the weight of the vehicle. But even those, I think I would have to increase. So we're really focusing on the M and the P's right now.
Right.
And then we have to do something, guys. And then, of course, between myself and the Minister of Vromi, we have decided a road fund for 2027 as well. So it means at least 9 to 10 million will be out of the main pot and going directly into a road fund, so that we can see, okay, so you're paying road tax, then it goes towards the roads.
And that will be strictly towards the roads, any infrastructure, lighting, and all of that stuff. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, Minister, and I know you'll probably be back to explain a little bit more about that once everything is, finalized. So,
I will.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say she with the Attitude Super Duper Morning Show. We got birthdays coming up next.